This year, we purchased 3 large properties with the goal to convert them to 9-bedroom HMOs. And in order to do that, we need to get our planning application approved. And guess what? We just got our first planning application approved. It's a big step for us. And the best part of it is, it didn't even take that long. It's a moment that I'm very proud of. And I'm here to share every single step that I took so that you can do the same too. Hi, I'm Daniil, and behind the scenes is my wife Greta. And together, we're the Vnoutchkovs. This year, we jumped in the property game without any prior experience. The goal is to buy 3 large properties, convert them to HMOs, rent them out to generate passive income out of it. And we're here to share all the things that we'll learn along the way. And if this is something that sounds interesting to you, then please make sure to subscribe. Alright, let's talk about HMOs with 7 or more bedrooms. Those large-scale properties that fall under that fancy legal name Sui Generis. For a lot of property developers, it's like stepping into the deep end. But is it really that scary? Let me explain. Imagine you've got a massive property with 7 or more tenants living their own lives under one roof. At this moment, the property becomes special. It doesn't fit under the usual rules for smaller HMOs. And at this point, that's where the Sui Generis planning permission comes in. Essentially, the law says, hey, it's not a typical shared house, it's a clause of its own. So you need some extra approval before you can move forward. And the fear around planning applications is real. Here's the usual story. A developer buys a property. They then apply for a full planning application. Then they wait and wait with no renovations, no progress, while the holding costs keep piling up. The problem is that councils often reject drastic changes, like converting a 3 to 4 bedroom family home to a 9-bedroom HMO. They see this as a loss of a family home, which then sparks a long back and forth negotiation between yourself and the council. Now, add in the financial pressure. Many developers, they rely on bridging loans to fund these kind of projects. But when you're stuck waiting for planning approval, sometimes months or years, these loan costs can drain your budget fast. It's a risky move that often leaves people regretting that they even tried. So what's the alternative? Most property developers, they stick to 6-bedroom HMO. And this can be done under permitted development rights, which basically means they can do this without going through the full planning application as long as you're outside of an Article 4 area. An Article 4 area is basically where they strip down your permitted development rights. So you have to go through the full planning application every single change that you make to your property. And as you can hear, this can take a long time and is very uncertain. With all these hurdles, it's easy to see why Sui Generis HMOs scare people off. But here's the thing, if you approach this strategically with a clear plan and the right mindset, these unique properties can be a game changer. The key is to understand the rules, the risks, and how to navigate the process. We learned a completely different way to tackle this, thanks to our amazing mentor. We followed a step-by-step process using permitted development rights strategically to avoid wasted time and also unnecessary risks. And this is how we did this. Firstly, start with what's allowed under permitted development rights. We began by doing the loft conversion under permitted development rights. And while the works were going on, we submitted a certificate of lawfulness to make sure that the works that we're doing are legal. This allowed us to add extra space and 2 or 3 bedrooms to the house. By the time the certificate came back, the loft was fully finished, so we didn't waste any time. This took us about 1 month to get approved. Once the certificate of lawfulness for the loft has been approved, we submitted another application to change the use of the property from a C3, which stands for family home, to C4, which is an HMO up to 6 bedrooms. This is also done under permitted development rights, as long as your property is outside of an Article 4 area. And while we were waiting for the application to be approved, we carried out with the renovation. In some areas, you can even combine these 2 applications under one to save time. Here's another key thing. With the 6-bedroom HMO, you can already legally start renting out 6 of your bedrooms, which means that when the renovation is completed, you're not stuck waiting for planning approval for the Sui Generis with an empty property. You can start renting out 6 of the bedrooms to start making income. And then finally, you apply for the Sui Generis application. Once the property was officially a 6-bedroom HMO, we applied for a Sui Generis application. This basically increases the capacity from a 6-bedroom HMO to a 9-bedroom HMO, especially because we had the space in the property to add those additional 3 bedrooms. This process took us about 2 months, and while we were waiting, we carried out the renovations to make the property ready for the tenants. To make this final step as smooth as possible, we hired a planning consultant to handle our Sui Generis application. Their expertise made a huge difference, and the process went much smoother than if we would have handled the case ourselves. By the time the Sui Generis application was approved, the house was undergoing the final touches and is almost ready for the tenants to move in. So now let's talk about why this approach works. When the council reviews your Sui Generis planning application, they're mainly concerned about parking availability, how close you are to public transportation, waste management, and cycle storage space. By going with a step-by-step approach, we avoided the loss to a family home argument. Councils are more flexible when you're adding 2 or 3 more bedrooms to an existing HMO rather than making big change all at once. Even if they raise any objections, they often want to work with you. In the end, they know that the UK has got a big housing crisis, so they want to make it work together. Just to give you an example, the highway officer was unhappy with our plan with the cycle storage in the garden. That's because the garden is long and narrow. However, we worked together with them to come to a middle ground, and now they're happy with what we proposed. That being said, there is always a risk that your Sui Generis application might not get accepted. However, if you follow all the regulations and make sure that your bedrooms are up to a good size, the living room and the lounge are up to a high standard, then you stand a very good chance the application gets approved. So this is what we learned. If you break down the process into smaller steps, they dramatically increase the chance of success. Instead of overwhelming the council with a big application, we used what's already allowed under permitted development rights to make some progress. This way, every single step felt manageable, and we never felt like we were stuck in a limbo waiting. This method doesn't just apply to Sui Generis applications. I believe that you can do this with any planning application in general. However, it's always wise to consult with a planning consultant, but the most important thing is break it down into small actionable steps, and then you get close to your end goal. I'm so excited that we just had our first Sui Generis application approved, and we're just gonna keep growing from here. If you're thinking of tackling your own planning applications, don't be afraid to try this method. And if you have any questions or anything that you'd like to know, please leave a comment below and we'll try to help you. And if you'd like to see the progress that we're making on a property that just got approved, make sure to check out this video here. Thanks so much for watching. I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you in the next one.